So here's my first male. The first one I ever got. That was a couple of years back now. Yeah, he doesn't have the best shape or anything, but he was the first Scots I was offered, and I liked the way he looked. The hen he is with looked very similar to him as well. Almost identical, a little bit more upright, to be honest with you. But other than that, not a lot to say about this male. I'll show you the rest of his offspring in a minute, and so on and so forth. But yeah, enjoy. Here's a clip of the hen and the cockbird together. This is when I first got them, so there's a little bit of me talking in this. So this is my pair of Scots Fancies. The male's got the pink ring and the female's got the blue ring. But yeah, they're my first pair. They've got 5 full eggs at the moment, so I like that to look forward to. So the pair you're seeing in the photo, they went on to have 4 chicks that year in total, hatching from 2 clutches. It wasn't the greatest year, but it was my first year with canaries, and I was happy with that. From that, we got, I believe, it was a fawn and white, a white, a yellow variegated in colour, not feather, and a self. But the self was my only hen from that year, and she passed away just before the beginning of this breeding season, just gone. Firstly, we have the self hen I had that passed away, unfortunately. As you can see, she's quite nice. She did go very blue towards the end of that first season. Well, after she molted, she was a lovely colour. But these things happen. It's a shame, but I'm hoping to get some more maybe this year. Second, we have the white. This is a dominant white male. You'll see more photos of him later on. I actually ended up using him in some of my feeders this year, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out with, obviously, it going into a different bloodline. I'll keep you updated if I can. Next is the variegated cockbird. This bird's lovely. I've used it a lot in the feeders I've made this year. It's made some lovely green birds that have come from it, so it'd be interesting to see what those feeders look like. I made a mistake earlier. I also got this bird that is also a hen from those 4 birds. So it's 2 hens and 2 cocks in the end. She is a white and fawn, if I remember correctly. You can correct me in the comments below if I am incorrect on this one. But she, again, was a lot of the background of a lot of the stud this year. I got another pair of birds in and broke that pair up and put them to the 2 I've just spoke about. And that's how we got the birds that I had for the show bench this year. So I'll obviously, like I've said with the other ones, there'll be more video footage, there'll be more clips of this hen. I've still got this hen, and I'm hoping that I can breed from her this year, providing she gets through the molt. She is looking a little bit soft, but I'm hoping that she's okay and she makes it through. But yeah, I'll keep you updated. I keep saying this, but I'll keep you updated. So here is a pair that I spoke about I had acquired for this breeding season. They've come from Donald Skinner Reed. As you can see, there is a almost clear male and a slightly ticked female again. The 2 of them look absolutely amazing. You'll see later on, there's a bit of video footage in a minute of them in the cages, that I'd made a mistake which ones I said I'd put together. So in the end, I ended up putting the original male I had, which you've seen in the footage already, to hit the hen. And then the cock that I'd got from Donald had gone to the fawn and white hen that I had left from my bloodline. This made the beginning of my breeding stock for this year. I'll now just go through the notes of what happened during this breeding season, and there is a little bit of footage of the cages and the setup. The cages you'll see, they're not the perfect cages, but it's what I had when I was starting. This year, I've got a lot more breeding cages and a lot more larger cages for them to be in, and a lot more space. I've also built an aviary, and I'm in the process of building a shed. So I should have more than enough room for the stock that I currently have, and also any stock that I have next year, hopefully, when the breeding season comes around. So next we have the fawn and white hen to the male clear. Basically, to cut this long story short, because I don't want it to take too long, because there's quite a lot. They had 5 eggs at the beginning of the season. They weren't feeding those. I tried to top those up. They eventually didn't make it. They weren't feeding them enough, and I couldn't be there enough to keep topping them up. So they perished. Sad, but it's part of this hobby, I think. To be honest with you, then after that we had a bit of a tragedy. The male ended up hurting his leg and getting it caught in the cage. So I took him out the cage. Wrapped him up, got him all cleaned up, kept him in a clean cage for a while. But while I had him in the cage, I noticed that he was calling back to the hen. The hen was calling back to him. So after his leg was all fit, healthy, and clean, after he'd had a couple of days with some antibugs and stuff like that, and some good food, a week or so, maybe I think it was about a week and a half in the end, he went back with her. And much to my surprise, despite him losing a leg, he seemed to go into turbo drive and he managed to have some chicks. So he had 2 chicks initially, and then he had another chick after that. I believe he might have had a couple more, but I can't remember off the top of my head how many chicks he had in total. I believe it was. I believe I've got 3 or 4 of his chicks left now. We'll see video footage of those chicks later, and I will tell you which pair those chicks came from. The next pair is on the right-hand cage in the video footage. That is the original male you've seen in the video already. The original cockbird I had from my bloodline, put to the yellow female, slightly ticked from Donald. They had 4 eggs by the 3rd of April. A lot of these eggs did hatch, but they didn't feed them. They did feed 2 of the chicks. I put clothes rings on those. And then I came back a couple of days later and all those chicks had died. So that was horrible, but I guess it's part of the hobby. I think they just started a little bit too early, and that caused them to kind of abandon a lot of the nests. I had it with a lot of the canaries. They kicked up early, and well, they abandoned the first clutch of eggs basically. But getting back to it, they did have a few more. I think it says here on the 31st of that month they had 4 more eggs. Of those eggs, she was sitting them. Those eggs seem to have hatched and done pretty well. I close rung 3 of them, 1 variegated and 1 white. 2 variegated and 1 white. You'll see pictures of those later. I believe those were ring number 1751, 1752, and 1753. I'm pretty certain a couple of those I took to Stafford, and they did pretty well on the bench as well. I'll talk more about that later when I showed you video footage of them in the show cages. So here we have the male again. You've already seen this footage, but just going to go over a few bits and bobs. The female that he went to did pass away eventually. It was, like I said, it was a very bad season for me that year, but I'm hoping for a better one this year. But anyway, so that was this male to Donald's female. From that, we've got 2 variegateds and 1 white I said about, and there was an additional white after that. That's what I've managed to get to the sticks. So here's what you're looking at. So yeah, we'll go through those and I'll tell you about those in a minute. So to start with is the first variegated. This is one of the birds that I did enter at Stafford. It came in at fourth, this bird, in the variegated or pied category, cocks and flighted. So as you can see, this bird is a little bit flighty, not the neatest of birds, but I like its shape. I like the way it flies from perch to perch. So I'm gonna probably keep this one back. It's not my first choice, but I will be using it. So yeah, let's see what happens. Next is the white bird that I also took to Stafford. That was for the white ground or any other white bird at Stafford. This bird is unflighted as well. All the birds that I took to Stafford were unflighted. This bird, I'm pretty certain, was the one that got second. Yeah, I really do like this bird. It moves lovely on the perches. It's got a good shape to it. To me, this is one of my nicer birds. I really do like this bird a lot. I will be trying to put this to something this year. I don't know what. I've still got to choose my pairings and see if I can maybe acquire a couple more hens. Maybe we'll see what happens. But yeah, I really do think this is a nice bird. So yeah, we'll move on to the next one. So next we have the variegated that came in second at Stafford. This bird is probably the bird I'm going to use the most this year when I go to put it to things. I've got to be careful, obviously, because the bloodline's getting quite close. If you look at it, it will start going back on itself. Luckily, I've brought in another bird this year that I could put to this cock bird, and I do think I probably will. It's just I've got to spend a bit of time looking at the shape and things like that. But this bird has got a great shape to it. It moves lovely. It's very steady on the perch. I wish it would move a little bit more, but when it does move, I like the shape of it. I like I like most things about this bird. I didn't realize I had it until I entered it, and people were saying how nice it was and how well it did. So yeah, I'm very pleased with that. So lastly, from this pairing, we have another white-based bird. This bird is the bird that came third in the unflighted at Stafford. Like I said, overall, I'm very pleased with this bloodline that's come out of this pair. It's made some lovely birds, and I will be trying my best to find things to pair these two this year so that I can continue producing more good quality Scots for the bench. As I really did enjoy the whole process with showing the birds and everything. But as you can see, it moves lovely across the perches. When it stands up, right, it holds its shape really nicely. It's just for me, it's one of my nicer birds. I've always liked working with these white-based birds, and the dominant white is lovely. So you might notice that I said that two of the birds came second in the same category. That's my mistake. I believe the first variegated bird you saw came third, and the last one you saw was second. You'll also notice that I say this is my best bird or that I like this a lot. It's because I do enjoy the birds I've got and the birds that I have produced this year. I'm really looking forward to the next breeding season. But that'd be why you hear me repeat myself quite often. Anyway, thank you. Bye. So that's the end of the video. You've seen some of the birds. I did record this about a month and a half ago. I haven't got around to ending it or finishing any of the video off, so it's just got to this stage, and I'm going to post it, I think, this evening. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you've got any criticisms or anything you'd like to say, just post them in the comments. Please try to keep it reasonable. I don't want it turning into a utter warfare out there, as some comment spaces can become over time. But yeah, this is my first video, so bear with the editing and all that jazz, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I hope I can post another video in the next couple of months. I'll probably do one after Christmas, if anything. I've got a lot of coursework on and a lot of assignments to do and things like that. So if I'm ever going to get the chance to do any more, it'll be then. But if there's anything you'd like me to do around the Scots, I don't know a huge amount, because once again, like I said before, I'm very new to it and it's only my first showing season. But if you'd like to get in contact and let me know, just contact me on the chat on this, or contact me on Facebook. You can find me pretty easily on there. I'm Elliot Williamson, pretty easy to find. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy, and well, see you guys in the future. Bye.